No, man, but you got to keep going. What am I going to do, quit? That's not an option. You got to keep on keeping on. Life's a garden, dig it? You make it work for you. You never give up, man. That's my philosophy.
Hey, gardeners. Hope you're all having a great week out in your gardens. Things are starting to cool down around here, and I'm just out checking out our pumpkin and squash patch. And you can see here we've got some powdery mildew starting to take out these squash plants here, but surprisingly, as much as trouble these plants have had growing, we do have some squash fruits that I think we're going to be able to harvest nice and ripe here real soon. As you can see here, we also have a pumpkin. The pumpkins I'm not too sure about because they're just really starting to get growing now, and it's really starting to cool off. But yeah, several squash in here though too. Got another one right over here. You see we had one right back there as well too. A few more others hiding up underneath of there. But yeah, surprisingly, these have done better than I thought they were going to do. They just really struggled earlier in the season as it was really hot out, and just took off eventually. As you can see here, we got the pumpkin kind of riding around the squash coming up in the middle here, and taking over some of our tomato plants and everything down the line. But yeah, all in all, a little better than I thought they would do, but definitely can do better this next season. Again, everybody, thank you for joining with us here today. We've got some great guests with us here. So, all right, let's get growing.
All right. I figured it out. Welcome, everybody, to all my passionate plant people and garden enthusiasts to the Let's Get Growing show here on the Urban Gardener channel. Thank you all for being here. I think I must have added something. I don't know what happened with the edit on that introduction, but that kind of caught me off guard there. But thanks again, everybody, for being here today. Great show for you here today. We've got our good friend Farmer Greg Peterson joining us from the Urban Farm podcast coming up here just a little bit later on in the show. And we've got Maureen Washington, Diva in the Dirt, joining us for our Are You Following Me segment here in just a few minutes. So again, we've got some great guests for you all here today. So definitely stay tuned for those conversations. And if you can, real quick at the top of the show here, definitely hit that thumbs up, hit the like button, as well as subscribe, and hit that bell notification to be notified of all of our upcoming videos and live streams here on the Let's Get Growing show. And definitely be sure to share it with all your friends. Let them know about our show here every Saturday and Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 2 p.m. Eastern, and 7 p.m. for all of you over there in the UK and Europe as well. Thank you so much, everybody, again, for being here. It's great to see you. And yeah, like I said, sorry we weren't here last Saturday as well too. Folks just weren't feeling that well, so we just kind of had to cancel the show last minute. But thanks for everybody who did still join in on the chat. It was great to see you all there chatting with each other as well too. Also, I guess everybody also went over to Shawnee's channel too, because she was celebrating her 1,000th subscriber, so that was really great. And congratulations again to Shawnee as well too. And also big huge shout out to all of you who are following us on the replay. Thank you so much for checking out the show on your time. I really appreciate having you here, and definitely drop into our comment section. Let me know you were here. Let me know what you got growing on. How did the season go for you? I'd love to hear all about it. So definitely get into the comment section and let me know there too, for sure. And let's see here. If you have any questions or comments for us, drop into our live chat and definitely put those questions in for our guests coming up here later in the show, and put them in bold capital letters if you can, so that I can see those questions from the comments and make sure that we get those asked of our guests here in just a little bit. Also, follow all of our links down in the description below to our guests, and definitely go check them out, and go check out one of their videos or posts, or one of their whatever they've got out there. Leave them a comment. Let them know you saw them here on the Let's Get Growing show. It's a great way to support the show and support our guests. Excellent. Thank you, everybody, for doing that too as well. And right on. Excellent. Hopefully everybody's having a great time in your gardens. Let's jump in and see who we can find in our chat here as well too. I know we gotta say hi right at the top of the show to our good friend Jay Dixon, our facilitator here on the Let's Get Growing show. Definitely keep an eye out for Jay's comments in the chat, and all the different links and things that she shares with us throughout our conversation today. So definitely do that and check out or in fact, if you got any channels as well too, definitely let us know so we can get a shout out to you there as well in our chat, and she'll drop a link to your channel there so we can all go and support you as well too. And I see we have our good friend David, Bowtie Life in the Garden, joining with us here too. And he says, two of my favorite people on today, Greg Peterson, but first, Maureen, Diva in the Dirt. We're all in for a great Saturday show. That's right. Definitely going to be a great show. We'll have Maureen on here in just a few minutes there as well. I see we got Texas Organic TV in the conversation. Our other good friend Paul from Guten Gardening. Right on. And I see we got Farmer Marshall in the conversation too. And I saw Robin Gardens. Woohoo! Maureen the Diva kicking the guest list off today. Great lineup. Yeah, right on. Excellent. I see we've got Rob's Allotment Gardening joining us from over in the UK. He says he wasn't here last week. He was at the Malvern show looking at giant veg. He said he did a video if anyone wants to check that out. So definitely go over and check out Rob's Allotment Garden and check out some of those giants that he saw over at the Malvern show. I see Dusty Flats in there saying that talking about he's still got some high temperatures going on. Boy, my, oh my, I know we've been really warm leading up to this last week or so, and then all of a sudden it's starting to cool down around here nice and quickly, just as quickly as it got hot in the springtime. So we jump kind of right into our next seasons for sure around here. And then also from right down the road, we got our good friend Adam Burley joining us here, our other moderator from Central Point. He says he's listening in today while canning tomatoes. Right on. Hopefully you got lots of great tomatoes to can. And I also think it's Adam's birthday as well too. I was noticing that as I got online today. So happy birthday to you as well, Adam. Thank you for being here today. Let's see here. Who else do we got in here with us today? I think we already said hi to Dusty in there. South Florida Sunshine Tropicals in the conversation. Awesome. Great to have you here. Let's see here. I see Jersey Girl in there saying hi. Right on, right on. Miss Shannon in the conversation. Excellent. Janet, great to see you here. Says I'll have to watch the replay. Right on. Well, definitely thank you for watching and checking that out whenever you get a chance to, for sure. Let's see. We got David Corey with Crop saying hi to Maureen there as well. Also, Maureen is streaming our show through her channel as well too. So thanks for doing that. So we see some guests in here as well. Some folks who are watching on our stream might not see some of those conversations, but thank you all for joining in with us here. Cece's Texas garden. Right on, right on. Excellent. Let's see here. Make our way through the conversation. Right on, everybody. So for me, though, too, as you kind of saw there at the beginning, things, like I said, are starting to really cool down around here. So I was checking out our squash patch earlier, which is just basically this year, all we grew was our butternut squash. And then we did a pumpkin, and the butternut, and more so the pumpkin, but both of those really kind of had a struggle early on in the season with pests, and just everything was just really giving them a hard time, and they didn't really grow very well for several weeks. And I was just like worried. I didn't even think I was going to get anything at all. But then all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, those things just kind of took off and started spreading everywhere. So it really got my hopes up, that maybe we'll get something out of them. We do got a couple of pumpkin fruit in there that I showed you one, and I think there's another one off to the side there too. I don't think they're really going to mature completely before we'll have to take them off the vines, but I think several of those butternut squash are going to be just fine and great. So that's really great. Because getting something kind of unexpected, a lot of things aren't don't grow as well as we were hoped or planned for them to. And then sometimes we just got to give them a little bit of a chance, you know what I mean? And just let them grow. And then sometimes we can be really, really surprised. So, yeah, definitely a great surprise out of our squash patch that we have back there. And then the other thing I've been really working on over the last week, though, too, is trying to get my side alleyway garden, which I just kind of let go this year because we had the neighbor working on his fence and all sorts of things. We ended up with some volunteers that kind of popped in as well too, and they kind of sprawled all over the place. And a couple of things that again, similar to the squash that I planted, didn't really do as well, and continued to not do as well either too. So kind of pulling all that out, getting things set to rearrange them and kind of get that space all ready for this next season. But we do got those fall plants, some cabbages, some broccoli, and a few other things that I went out to one of our local greenhouses with Adam, and got some of those fall starts and everything. So I do got some of those things out there in our alleyway garden growing, and they're doing really well right now. So I'm kind of looking forward to those as we grow through the winter season. I've got a few other things that got started and coming up, like spinach and some other greens and things like that we're getting planted out and started out in our back patio garden too, as well too. So lots of things are growing on right now for sure, and lots of things are coming out from our summer garden as it's time. I've got a bunch of beans too in the back that we've been harvesting like crazy over the last few weeks, and so we got those plants that, again, as it's getting cooler now, they're starting to wane off and die off a bit. So gonna have to pull those out and start utilizing that space. Again, we kind of talked about this with one of our guests recently too, that it's kind of a tough struggle to figure out when do I take these out and when do I get the next season's things started. And sometimes we want to hold on to some things. I think I might have done that just a little bit with some of our with some of our plants in the back patio area, but we'll definitely get some things planted out there. Like I said, I got some spinach starts and some stuff like that we can get out into those spaces as I start clearing them out. So so definitely got a lot of great things growing on out there, even though our seasons are changing, and looking forward to a lot of these sort of fall crops and things that'll grow throughout our winter here in Southern Oregon. Right on. Excellent. So again, like I said, we got a really great show here ahead for all of you here today. And again, thank you everybody for joining with us. It's great to see all of the new faces from Maureen's channel as well too. So thank you all for being here. And right on. So let's do this real quick here. Let's take a real quick break here real quick, and then we'll be right back with our first guest.
Hi. My name is Charles Malky, biologist and plant expert with Ivory Organics, where we grow cool plants, and author, Saving the World with the Home Garden. Ivory Organic 3-in-1 Plant Guard has 7 natural oils that protect your plants, not just from the summer heat as well as winter cold, but also protects your plants from damaging insects and rodents. The oils in the product include castor, cinnamon, clove, garlic, peppermint, rosemary, and spearmint. These oils are natural insect and rodent repellent oils, which are encapsulated by the base powder, offering your plants months of protection at a time. 1 application per year will suffice for protection against damaging summer sunburn and winter sun scald, but if the target is pests, application as much as 2 to 3 times a year may be necessary.
All right. Boy, I'm having some fun with these buttons around here. I know StreamYard is really changing things up a little bit. I mean, just little things that really kind of set me off there. And I'm pushing buttons that I don't need to be pushing. But anyways, again, like I said, we got a great show for you. We got a really awesome first guest for you all here today. So let's get started with Are You Following Me?
Are you following me? Are you following me, dude?
So, all right, everybody, let's welcome to the show Maureen Washington, Diva in the Dirt, with us today. Great to have you here. Thanks for joining with us.
Thank you for having me. Are you following me? Are you following me?
I know. We should be
I'm
following you. And
buffering.
if you're not
I don't know.
following Diva in the Dirt, definitely get down in the links below and go check out her channel and all the things that she's got growing on for sure. How are things growing on for you, Maureen?
Things are growing well
Well,
this year. Even though I've had a lot of neglect with things, but I do have a little bit of, I love show and tell. So I
yeah.
am going to show you. Actually, I'm still in my apron because there is 2 more loaves in the Furno oven, but my daughter's going to take care of it. So I am going to show you
Oh,
that
perfect.
first. Because Saturday mornings, I bake sourdough bread.
Oh,
So
yes.
to sell. So this is one of the loaves that just came out. It's still steaming and looking gorgeous. And
Oh,
yeah,
that's great.
so
Oh,
there
it
is
looks
2 more loaves that my
delicious.
daughter's taking care of it. Thank
Yeah, I
you.
wish I was in your neighborhood and I'd get some of that stuff. That looks great.
Exactly. It would be nice, it's like, when you meet people here, through the YouTube streets and you become such good friends, you go, why? It's so sad that we all don't live close together, and
I
it's like,
know.
where could we all find that would be like the perfect grow zone so that we could all just, share our bounties and trade, because it's like, I just saw Cece said she's harvesting loofah and I said, I'm so jealous. She says, you should grow it. And it's like, I try every year. I try. And I think the best one I've ever gotten was maybe about this big. And this year, nothing. Like I think the plants are only this big right now, so it's not working. But let me show you something that has been growing.
I've struggled with some loofah before as well too. I mean, I have had like one good year where I had some really good ones, but yeah, for some reason they don't really do or get going. Again, it's similar to kind of the squash I was talking about. Is like I had they kind of struggle early on in the season, so they don't grow very much, and then there's this point where they take off.
Yeah.
But then you got to worry about or wonder whether or not the fruit's going to
burst.
mature before you get a chance before they kind of go out for the wintertime.
In time. Yeah. I'm looking at your squash greens and it's like, wow, they are so beautiful. But this is my first year to grow this. And this is a Georgia candy roaster.
That's what I was going to say. Looks like a candy squash.
I have about 15 of them. And there's still lots more on the vine out there. But I keep, I've picked them small, but I've been letting them get to maturity. So I think I just picked 5 this past week. They're like, it's part of my next video.
Yeah.
And this is another new one for me this year. This is a Kusha. And these, again, have just been super prolific and massive. I haven't tried this yet. And I got these seeds came from Broke Farmer. he sent them up. He goes, Maureen, you got to grow couchant. I'm like, what's a couchant? Okay. And then it's like, oh, this is a couchant. So yeah, so these are some of the squashes that are growing in my farm.
Oh, that's just wonderful. It looks great. I wish I had some
But
of those.
anyway,
like-
I'm glad to be here.
Oh.
Hey.
For sure. For
Again,
sure.
they're on my farm stand and people are buying them. And if we all lived close together, I could go, here, you can have one because I have too many of them.
Right. I know. Exactly.
But yeah, no, I'm really glad to be here. And so I appreciate it. And you know, hello to everyone. And again, you know, as you already said, Enoch, that I am co-streaming it. So there are some, you know, some of the comments you might not see because it is coming from my channel, but we're all together in one big happy family.
Yeah.
So.
I get to see them all, but I don't think everybody from each side. So like those who are watching from your side don't see those who are watching on my side,
Yes.
and vice versa. So, but again, really wonderful to see everybody here today for sure. Thank you all for joining with us. It's great to have you all along with this conversation. Yes. Yeah, definitely. Well, it's great to have you back on, but for our segments, we can have a really decent conversation about what's going on here. I know you've been on with us for our community show before. So last time I saw you and we got to meet, I was like, I got to have her back on so we can really get a good chance to sure. So right on. First off, let's just dig right into let's kind of, you know, one of the things we love here is our gardening journey story. I'd love to really find out a little bit about how and what got you started growing and you know, creating a gardening channel to share with everybody as well.
Yeah, so so my profession is I'm a jazz and blues singer, and you know, had a, you know, pretty good career of music, and I'm a vocal coach, so that's what I was doing in my life, and it was kind of like 2020 when the lockdowns happened. Well, I couldn't perform anymore, couldn't teach anymore, and just my background, I didn't like gardening. I wanted nothing to do with gardening. I like to look at it, and I liked it if people would grow things and I would buy them and I would eat them. I like that part, but I wanted nothing to do with being in the soil. You know, I've got really curly hair. And so for me to be out there, it's like bugs would get caught. I didn't like how my fingers felt, like, you know, just the tips of them. And my mom and my sister are both avid gardeners. And my mom would go, oh, it's so wonderful. Go out. And it's so peaceful. And I go, Ma, it's like, I said, I loathe gardening. I loathe it. You know, I couldn't get anything to grow. In my house, I have spider plants, and spider plants are the best plant to have in your home for, you know, exchanging your carbon and oxygen. But they are really, really just resilient plants. It's like if I overwatered it, it still stayed alive. If I underwatered it, it stayed alive. And so it was like, that was the only thing I could have. Like all that you have growing in your studio there, it's like, that's amazing. I couldn't do that.
In fact, coming right out of the top of my head is one of those spider plants. I had my 5 adult
children. Yeah. And my 5 children and adult children and my son-in-law all living with me at the time. And mine don't, again, my spider plants do not look that good. I'll just tell you that, but they stay alive. That's all that matters to me. And so I just started kind of looking out at the garden. We'd go out and sit and on our lawn chairs because it was sunny, and we'd have our beverages. And I'd go, well, you know, I could throw in some radish seeds. You know, I love radishes. And I just started doing these little things to grow a bit of food. And also a friend of mine, she went and got chickens and showed me her pictures of her baby chicks. And I went, oh, I want chickens. And she said, well, you could have them. I said, I have no place to put them. And she said, well, you know, my husband and I we'll help you build a coop. And so, you know, we set out in 2020 to build this coop, and I started growing food. And, you know, one of the main things was I have a big family. Like there's 7 of us here. And you're watching in the news, people are freaking out and running and going and getting toilet paper. And I'm like,
Mhm.
there's other things you could use other than toilet paper, like for toilet paper. And I thought, I have a lot of people here, and like, what if there's other shortages of different things?
Right.
And that kind of set me on this journey to go, well, I'm going to grow. And, again, with having a big family here, we one of our favorite things is to make like a chicken Caesar salad for dinner. And every Sunday it's, we have everybody's at the table to eat dinner, and we're going to go and we're going to have a chicken Caesar salad. And I said, oh, we need some romaine, and we need 3 heads of romaine to feed us all. And so I set, a couple of kids out to go and find some. And it was like, there was not much out there.
Wow.
And then the one store that it's kind of more of a little semi-organic store. And it was $7.50 for a wilted, wilted romaine. And I thought, that's over $20 for 3 heads of romaine. And I went, okay, well, I know how to fix that. I'll just grow a romaine. And, and I like romaine just because it's a cut and come again. And that's kind of where it all started, was the fact that this, like the food shortages that were happening in some areas, but the food shortage, could it happen here? And I thought, I have people that I need to feed. And just if you back up my story a little bit more, just as a sideline, it's like, I'm living the life that I always wanted to live, because I was a homeschooling mom, and I wanted, the farm and all that. But I'm like, I don't think I can do that, because I didn't like gardening. So it's like, this stepped me into this life that I think I always wanted to have. Right. And to provide and to have more resilience with my own food. So.
Yeah,
I think that sums it up.
Yeah, it was definitely the case. I've been sharing and doing videos on my channel, since I think 2016, 2017, right in that area. And that was one thing that was very sure was to see during the pandemic, was the explosion of folks who were starting to garden and starting to do that. It was just, and again, it's for that same similar reason that, what could possibly be, and what, or what were you actually seeing at that time too, like you're saying about the romaine lettuce and all of that, that really kind of encouraged people to get into it. So it was, I mean, I hate to say, that was the pandemic being a good thing on that line of, that it got people thinking, and it got people growing, and it got people out there really kind of understanding certain situations that could possibly happen, that could lead to food shortages and the need for being able to kind of grow a bit, and to be able to make up for any of those sort of situations that could happen. And so again, it's a good thing in the long run that came out of it, for sure.
Absolutely. To be able to start creating your own food independence and resilience, and so that was sort of coming. Now, in regards to my my YouTube channel, was because of this, kind of total change in my life, going from a diva the stage to diva dirt. And I would, I talked to my mom every night before we go to bed, and I would say to her, oh, I've done this over here. And she goes, I can't remember that. So then I started just bringing my camera out and filming what I was doing. And I would just, I couldn't send them anywhere. So I just put them on this little Facebook group for my mom to watch. And that's kind of where it started. So those first 2 years, I would have a 20-minute video of me walking back and forth on time lapse of doing something in my yard. And then it was in 2022, I do believe. Yeah, 2022, that I just thought, you know what? Again, I'm still not really, I wasn't teaching at the time, and I was really focused on, I need to learn how to grow food. And I was performing very little. And I just thought, well, if I had a YouTube channel, if something, went sideways in the future, this would be at least a stream of income for me, because I am an independent artist, independent contractor that, you go, I need to have something that would have money. So, I thought, well, I'll go and be with the big boys and go on YouTube and see if I can, make some money doing this. And then I started to build my channel.
Right. Well, that's
So
awesome.
I did still put those, that 20-minute long video of me time lapse. It's like, whatever.
Right.
Anyway.
Right.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah.
that's
So,
great.
and it took me a couple of years to, to get monetized. I think it took me 3 years or something like that. 2 years and 18. Yeah. About 3 years to get monetized. So I monetized actually last year on October 10th. So Friday, this coming Friday, will be my
Your first full year, huh?
1 year anniversary of being in the partner program, which is great. So it's like I make that 53. Yes.
Right on. That's great though too. I similar.
Oh, thank you, South Florida
been-
sunshine.
Oh, right on. Yeah. And so again, it's really awesome to hear that, the growth and folks kind of, jumping on with you to share this growing journey and all of that with you. And again, it really is what makes kind of doing all of this so much fun though, too, really ultimately is the community building that comes out of it when, and it's something that I've really enjoyed and has led to this whole show and everything is just really getting to meet such wonderful people out there who share that same similar passion for growing food and that sort of thing as well too.
Yes.
Or even if it's not food, just gardening in general. We're about all sorts of gardening around here for sure too.
So I do want to just absolutely. Well, because I don't just garden. It's like now I'm making sourdough bread every week to sell, and we did take a stab at making cheese, but it's not easy to find good raw milk here. There is some raw milk, but it's also very expensive, and it's like that makes some very expensive cheese. So it's like the next the plan is it's like, okay, well, I need to figure out how to chickens. And so I've done that. So now the next thing is like, okay, well, let's think about getting a cow, but I can't have a cow here in my
not enough space
urban, community. But I do want to just, no, not enough space. I've only just got just under a quarter of an acre. So I could have a mini cow, but it's like, we'd like to have property. But I do want to just say thank you to South Florida Sunshine. She just on my channel here, she just she's a member, and also she just encouraged everybody to subscribe and gave a donation to my channel. So thank you, South Florida Sunshine.
Awesome,
appreciate
excellent.
That.
Yeah, right on. That's excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for being here and contributing and all of that as well, too. Really awesome to see the conversation. Lots of folks here talking away. It's great to have you. If you got any questions for us or for Maureen, drop those in for sure as well, too. But so how did this growing season go for you? How did everything work out? Did you get everything that you were planning?
Well, this year, like the squashes were. No. There's lots of things that I didn't. Like I said, the loofahs, I do try them. And it's like I'm never gonna not try. I tried a new, area and things like that. But the squashes, I have a farm allotment that a friend from church. He has a organic blueberry farm, and he has this huge soil that he said my wife doesn't want to go down because it's quite a distance from their home, and he said, would you like to use it? It was last year was my first year to use it, and this is the second, and it has a really high water table, so I don't have to water a whole lot. I've been figuring out how to not have to do a lot of weeding, so we did use a lot of garden cloth this year. And then, but out there, there isn't a lot that I have it's more about where the vining squashes are, because they will, jump over a few rows. So it's like getting them back into, okay, stay in this area. That's the biggest challenge. But there were lots of things. I'm still in the middle of this very difficult year with my provincial government here. One thing that's great is the grows Vancouver Island is 9B. So we have a really long growing season, and we can even grow all the way through the winter, with just some, garden cloth top and stuff. You can keep growing the lettuces and spinach and things like that, cabbages. And I try every year, or I tell myself I'm going to try every year, but I get them planted and then I never go and look at them again until the spring. It's like, oh, you didn't grow very much because nobody fed you, nobody tended to you. So I just thought this year I'm not. But I was having a very difficult time this year with my provincial government. So there was a lot of neglect going on in my gardens and stuff, but grateful for, what has come in. Like I said, you've seen these squashes, and that's basically what I've been looking at and bringing in. The tomatoes are off the charts. My daughter canned up about 27 quarts of salsa. This past week, I just did a tikka masala sauce that we love, this Indian sauce that we do. And then, we did grape juice. She just did grape juice this past week, and we've got more to do. And then I just did a ketchup. It's my first time to use this recipe, and the recipe is just perfect. It tastes like good old fashioned diner ketchup. It's so delicious. Oh, perfect. So we are in the throes of canning and preserving and stuff like that right now, and stocking up our pantry and taking the time to actually start eating some of the things out of the pantry. So, right. I think that was the question.
So what was the issues you were having with your government there? What was the, is this something that had to do with you being able to grow?
Oh yeah, that's a little sideline.
They have some limitations on what you're able to do?
No, in British Columbia, no, not at all. No, in British Columbia, we have this thing called the speculation and vacancy tax. And it came in 2018, and they said, and it was for foreign buyers coming in, buying a home and leaving it empty. And so, and they put a 2% tax on it if you leave the house and don't rent it. So that's what we all thought it was. I think I'm buffering. And then they decided to spread it out through more communities, and mine, what they have is that you have to be a Canadian citizen. You have to declare your taxes. There's a criteria, which I do all of that. But because as a musician, I'm not making hundreds of thousands of dollars. I have, adult children living with me, and they share expenses in my home. And so they looked at what I declared, and they said, we don't think that you're being honest with your declarations of how much money you make, which I do. I have a tax accountant. And so I was given a $110,000 bill. They took away all my exemptions for 5 years. So I have been having to prove that I, number one, live in my house, which I go, you can look at my YouTube videos. You can see every aspect of my home in those videos. Yeah. But it was the fact that they didn't believe that I could live on the smaller amount of money that I declare on my taxes. So I'm still in that fight right now, but it's getting closer to being ended. But I did expose a lot of my own personal accounts and things like that to prove my innocence.
Yeah, well, hopefully that all works out.
So it was a yucky year.
Just doesn't. Yeah. Sometimes they can really, even down here, we can run into some issues with things that just don't make sense, and things that you get, and it's not easy to deal with government
so no,
in any form when it comes to trying to.
No, I actually. Oh, I think. Yeah, like I have out on my boulevard. I I actually, I grow out there because it was just it's just a beautiful green space, and nobody in the city has come and said, hey, you can't do that. People actually really love it. And I hope, it's like my hope is that, do you see what I'm doing with my front boulevard? That's a space that you can grow, and to encourage other people. It's like, grow some food in your front yard, as well as your backyard if you don't already. Small spaces, using them up in these urban areas.
That's right.
Areas.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like,
I got to use every bit I
kitchen
have.
gardens. We should have spaces where we are growing, our.
Yeah, I've got a lot of different spaces myself that I grow in, alleyways, rooftops, back patios, all of that. And we're about to move into our front yards this with me and my neighbor who we share this property with, so we're about to move into the front yards this next season as well, too. Again, to take advantage of every space that you can. Let's see. I know
awesome.
Shawnee had a question in here just a minute ago. Let's see here. What does she got? Can you tell us more about your long-term goals of teaching others to get growing something, maybe local to you or here on YouTube? Future series on the channel, maybe?
Yeah. So, so one of the things that that I do have already is I think it's a series just on the channel, and it is it was my kind of attempt. I think it was last year or the year before. It was a series of threes of trying to encourage people to grow, and that how simple it can be. Because it's like, I'm a jazz and blues singer. I don't know nothing about growing, nothing. And so I do try to utilize my channel to kind of encourage people, just even grow. Like, when you think about, $7.50 for a head of romaine, it's like, grow a pot. Like I grow in ground, I grow in pots, I grow in raised beds. And so I really try to show that it's like, here's all the different ways that you can grow. And with that series, I did, I showed, myself growing as if I had just a small patio and what I could grow. And I have a tenant, and so in renting my suite. And so I actually put it all at his, at his side of the house, just to show, here would be if I only had a balcony, here's me growing and what it looks like. So that's one of the things that I do. As of the future, I have a lot of, again, being an artist, I have a lot of like plans and ideas, and it's the implementing them that I do struggle with. And I have done, like, over the last 5 years, I have done like in-house canning classes with people, where I've brought in people to come and learn how to do pressure canning. And I've also done sourdough bread baking. I've got a kitchen that, I can fit about 10 people easily to make bread all together, and just to show them, the textures and how to. But yes, that's so that's what for me in the future. My future is just trying to think of, how can I move and buy a bigger piece of property and just be on, one level, not have two gardens spaces. So.
Yeah, right on. And I kind of like what you said, though, even though you don't feel as experience with gardening, that, I think that's also one of the cool things about seeing a lot of folks who did kind of join up with gardening and kind of shared their learning process with people, because I think that helps make it a bit more accessible to folks who don't have that much experience with gardening, is that they can kind of share in those kind of learning experiences with you. Oh, I think we freeze up there.
Yeah, Jay said that I'm buffering. Yeah, she said I've been buffering a lot. It's like, hey, nabbit.
Catch what we can, right?
Yeah, so I that is, that is one of the things for me is trying to encourage others to grow. And so I do have and in the spring I do sell starts and things like that. And I do have people come back and they're going, these are awesome. You would not believe cucumbers I grew. And so trying to build that community up of people of, trying to teach resilience. And I do have it where if people want to kind of rent me in my kitchen, and it's for a nominal fee, they come in with all their product and I help them can up their food, their meals, things like that. I've done that in the past. I haven't offered it this year just because this year was a bit of craziness, but that is, some of these things of helping people and holding their hand as they're trying to learn how to step into more of this self-sufficiency and resiliency. Mm-hmm.
Right on. Let's see here.
Yeah, no.
Oh, let's see real quick here. We'll make one more question in here. Robin Gardens just popped a question up. She says, can you share how you make the liquid fertilizer? Easy and saves money. Is that something you've shared here recently?
Yeah. Well, I call it poo-poo juice.
There you go.
I'm buffering again. I don't know if I should. Well, I don't know how long it would take.
Yeah, we're just about done anyways.
Restarted my computer. That would be my scary part is how long it would give me to come back. Well, finished. Yeah. So my poo-poo juice, I use, all greens and, whatever weeds from my own garden. I get a great big tote from Costco. And I just start throwing the weeds in that and then cover it with water. And then I just let it sit and that just permits, and it smells terrible. To me, I'm so used to the smell that it's like, that smells like liquid gold to me. Because I have seen when there was one year where my pumpkin plant, it was getting yellow. It had some yellowing, and I thought, oh, it needs some more poo-poo juice. So I gave it some juice, and within 4 days, it had a stalk on it, brand new dark green stalk. And I don't do any bubbling with it. I just keep throwing in whatever greens that I have, and it just ends up having like the best carbon and nitrogen that the plants need. And my system is, because you're supposed to dilute it. I don't dilute mine because there's just so many plants that need to be fed. So I put in full strength and I walk behind with hand watering each of the plants, or I let just, the hose soak it after I have gone through.
Well, it seems nice and easy.
So
and really good results, right?
It's free.
Free and easy. Nothing better than that, right?
Yes.
Right on. Well, again,
it is liquid gold poo-poo juice.
That's right. Well, right on, Maureen. It was really great to have you here with us today, even with the buffering and all. It's great to hear your story and learn about what you got growing on there for sure. And definitely, like I said before, we got links down below in the description for anybody who's following along here. I know you're also co-streaming on your channel as well too. But if anybody's on this side over here and you haven't had a chance to go check out Diva in the Dirt, definitely check out our link down below in the description for her channel. And like I said too, go over there, say hi, let her know you saw her here on the Let's Get Growing show. So right on, Maureen. Thank you so much for being here and again, sharing your story with us today.
Thank you so much.
You betcha. Awesome. We'll see you again real soon.
Yes. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you. Let's see if I can get this right. I'm sorry.
Take care, everybody.
Hey gardeners, thanks for tuning in to our show today. We'll be right back at it here in just a moment. I just wanted to take a second here to highlight our regular videos and features here on the Urban Gardener channel. Our weekly garden journals,
and our incredible featured visits. All right. Again, thank you to Maureen for joining with us here today. And really awesome to have her here on our Are You Following Me segment. And again, go check out the links down below and go check out what she's got growing on. Leave her a comment or something on one of her posts or videos and let her know you saw her here on the Let's Get Growing show. And like I mentioned earlier, too, we didn't have a Saturday show this last week. But if you want to go back and check out the Saturday before last, we had our good friend Kay Cottrell from Late Bloomer on the show. It's always great to catch up with Kay. Kay is one of the very first interviews I ever got to do here on my channel. So it's always great to have her back. Plus, we got to meet Natalie from the Fresh Princess and check out all of her really cool aeroponic, hydroponic setup that she has. Just really great stuff that she grows there too. So if you didn't get a chance to see that show, go back and check that one out on one of our past live streams. And also, too, over the last couple of weeks, we've been doing our monthly gardening book club, which this last month we were doing 2 of them for a September back to school special on kids books. So we had with us on the Sunday before last, we had Marcus Bridgewater featuring his book, See Marcus Grow. Really great book about his learning experience in the garden with his grandmother. So that was just a really, really great show. And again, if you didn't get a chance to check that out, you want to go back and check that out. Plus, last Sunday, we had our second in the gardening book club, and we were featuring Dr. Vikram Baliga's Plants to the Rescue. And this one was just a really great book too, for a little bit of the older kids than the previous. We wanted to cover most of the kids there. Plus, we also got to talk with Vikram about, a little bit of what he does at Texas Tech as a professor in agriculture down there as well, too. So lots of great things in that conversation. You'll want to go back and check that out. And plus, you want to attend our monthly gardening book clubs and stay till the end, because that's when we announce our next month's book club. And this next month, we've got with us Kelpie Wilson, author of the Biochar Handbook. Really excited about checking this out. I haven't had a chance myself to really utilize biochar in my garden, so this is going to be a great learning experience for me as well, too. I've been loving what I'm reading in the book so far, so I can't wait to talk with Kelpie Wilson coming up here on our 3rd Sunday of the month this month, and check out her book on growing on the handbook for biochar. So definitely come and check that out for sure. So right on, everybody. It's time to get moving on here. We got our featured guest with us here, waiting in the wings. So it's time for our featured guest.
You never know when you might learn something, and that's what this is about for me. These are people that I admire. Please welcome my next guest.
So, all right, everybody, let's welcome back to the show our good friend, Greg Peterson.
Hello. I love that intro. That's great. Thank you. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I got you. We got you good, man. Awesome. It's great to have you back here. Thanks for joining with us today, Greg.
Oh my gosh. Always love to chat with you.
Absolutely. So right on, let's jump right into it. So how things been growing on since we saw you last here? How things going in the garden?
Pretty good. I've learned a couple of really important things. So for your listeners that don't know, I lived in Phoenix for 54 years. I grew fruit trees in Phoenix for 50 of those 54 years. I got really, really good at growing fruit trees in Phoenix, Arizona.
Right.
And I've gotten really, really good at killing fruit trees in my new home in Asheville, North Carolina. It is so different. I'm finding that really everything is so different growing here. Literally, I grew for 50 years in Phoenix, gardens and fruit trees. And it's a whole brand new learning curve here.
So yeah, you're deep into a whole new learning experience there with these different climates and things. Or what are some of the things you're finding out that are kind of different from when you were growing fruit trees in Phoenix to where to what you're doing there in North Carolina?
Two big things. Deer.
Yeah. We had a great conversation with Kay when she was on last time too, because she had kind of a similar experience of having to learn different things from growing in Southern California to where she lives in Tennessee now growing, and deer are one of the big ones that she has to deal with for sure.
Kay Cottrell's in Tennessee.
I think it's is it? I don't know. I might be wrong, but
I'll reach out to her. We've chatted many times in the past.
I think it's Tennessee.
Jay says, "Oh dear." So
right,
that's
exactly.
number one thing. Number two thing is weeds, and both of these represent pests. I always thought we had pest problems in Phoenix, Arizona.
Right.
Yeah, no.
Not like when you can live in such a little more temperate area, right?
Yeah,
they just seem to have tons of them.
Yeah, so those two big things. One of the things that I love to, I'm going to shift a little bit on you. One of the things that I loved doing in Phoenix, Arizona was my regenerative composting system at the urban farm. I had a system set up where I would go to the Duck and Decanter, one of my favorite longest term restaurants in Phoenix. I ate at the Duck starting in the 70s. There's a sandwich joint. And starting in probably 2017 or 2018, I'd go there every week and I would pick up 5 to 10 5-gallon buckets of compostables. It's pre-consumer stuff. So ends of heads of lettuce and tea fines and that kind of stuff. And I inserted those into my regenerative composting system at the urban farm. And that composting system looked like the food scraps come in the front door.
Yeah.
They would go to the chickens, the composting worms, or the black soldier fly bugs.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And I really enjoyed doing that. It had to have been at least 5 or 6 years that I was doing that with the Duck and Decanter before I left town. And I made lots of great soil. I had finally gotten to the point where I was getting enough greens that I could make enough compost that I didn't have to buy compost anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And then we moved here 3.5 years ago. And the first thing I did when I got here was I bought a urban worm bin. Have you heard about the urban worm bin?
Yeah. I've seen those.
Funnel. It's a funnel.
I find that so interesting. I got to try one of those someday.
It's very fascinating. I love my urban worm bin. And that's for the first 3.5 years that I was here. That's how I processed all of our kitchen scraps. Just put them in the worm bin, and it's shaped like a funnel. And there's a trap door at the bottom.
Yeah.
And you open the trap door when you're ready to harvest, and you bang the bottom, and the worm castings fall out and leave some of the worms up top, and you start all over again.
Yeah, you just kind of keep it new up top, so they're encouraged to work into that new bedding, right? And then you can the bottom stuff. Yeah, I got to try that sometime. For myself, I just use just a basic old container type, one of those storage containers and stackable, and I've been finding that works out really, really well.
Yeah.
And those things can, once you get them populated enough, they can just start eating up things really quickly. I'm really surprised at how fast they actually eat through some of the food that I put in there.
Right. It is amazing how that works. And both just the chickens or just the worms, that's not a regenerative composting system.
Right.
A regenerative composting system is circular. A regular composting system is the stuff comes in, you compost it, and it goes in your garden. That's more linear. Although if you make the connection of taking that compost, growing food, harvesting the food,
Yeah.
Using those kitchen scraps that you use from the harvest food and put it back into the worm bin, that makes it circular.
Yeah.
And I learned about circular thought systems in the early 80s when I designed what I called a regenerative fish farm. At that time, I was working with the Arizona Aquaculture Association, and we visited a farm in southern Arizona, and they were harvesting the fish, cutting up the fish, get your fish meat, which is 30%, and they took the other 70% and they threw it out to the wildlife. They threw it away. And that just didn't make sense to me. Just didn't make sense to me. So I started looking at that, and then from that, I created on paper a regenerative fish farm where everything is used in the fish farm. Nothing goes to waste.
Okay.
Right? So I did that in 1981. What's that? 40 some years ago?
Right.
And over the years at the urban farm, I lived at the urban farm from 1989 to 2022 in Phoenix. And over the years, I developed my regenerative composting system.
Yeah.
And I really miss that. And basically what that means is that, as I mentioned a minute ago, the food scraps come in, they go to one of our composting workers, they all build soil, that soil goes out into the garden beds, those garden beds make food, we get food, we harvest it, we cut it up, use some of it, most of it, compost, or put the rest of it back into the system. So again, it's that circular system, right? And basically what we're talking about here is permaculture.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely a permaculture system. Is that something that, again, so or is that another thing, like you mentioned earlier, the changing from living in Phoenix, with the fruit trees, in North Carolina? Is that something you're working on and building up as you're, building up your farm there in North Carolina, trying to re-implement this, regenerative composting system?
Yes. So the chickens arrived 15 weeks ago as baby chicks.
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden I have chickens that will eat the kitchen scraps along with the worms. And do you know about black soldier flies?
Oh yeah. Yeah. In fact, my neighbor right now, he's getting into this whole idea of composting and what we're going to be doing as we work into this next year. And he's just kind of obsessed with black soldier fly right now. And it's just really kind of fun to see him kind of learning and figuring out this process, but he's really onto those right now.
Right. Well, they're amazing. They're this little non-invasive fly, so they don't even bug you. In fact, rarely, once they go from lymph to caterpillar to fly, you don't see the flies.
Right.
They don't bug you there, and they take up.
Not like the ones I literally have like a fly right now that is really just pestering me like crazy in this room right now.
Right.
And I know exactly what you're talking about. These things won't leave me alone right now. He's flying all over. He's landing all over me and all of that. But yeah,
that's the thing about
soldier. Yeah. That's the thing though about soldier flies, like you said, they're just, they're really great for composting, and they're, their larvae just feed like crazy on your compost, and they're not the same type of fly where they, they're flying around bugging you and trying to get in your face.
Exactly. So we have all the players, all the workers. In permaculture, we look for workers.
Mm-hmm.
And the workers are the chickens, the worms, the black soldier flies, and microbes in the soil.
Mm-hmm.
So here's how my regenerative composting system works. Here's how it worked at the urban farm, and here's what I've started to implement here. And about 3 weeks ago, I got a black soldier fly bin because I wanted to start growing black soldier flies. The grubs are great for chicken food.
Yeah.
The chickens absolutely love the black soldier fly. So we have worm castings. Some of the food scraps go to the worms. The worms make worm poop. The worm poop is gardener's gold. The gardener's gold goes into the garden to make healthy soil. It's nutrient dense, and it's got all kinds of microbes in it, and it's doing its work, right?
Mm-hmm.
The black soldier flies eat twice their weight in food waste a day. It's amazing. And as I'm throwing food waste onto them, I'll throw a couple of pounds of food waste at them, and I'll come back a couple hours later and it's all gone. They're
that fast, huh?
That fast.
Wow.
And so the black soldier flies, the cool thing about them is when they go from the grub stage, the larval stage to the grub stage, they want to climb out of the container they're in.
Mm-hmm.
So they self-harvest. And the system that I have is designed with tubes that they can crawl up and out of the system.
I think I've seen this. I talked with my neighbor about that before too, because we're planning on also setting up a chicken coop in the back area here as well too. Yeah, and I think that's kind of how he got onto the soldier flies. Is I was telling him, I says, we got to figure out this system I saw one time, and I have to look it up or whatever, and you can kind of explain it just a little bit more. But yeah, they just they crawl right up out of it, right into basically the chicken coop, and they just kind of self-feeding kind of the chicken, right, without having to do really anything but add food scraps, right?
Well, my biggest challenge was in Phoenix was getting them through the summer. It just got so hot I couldn't keep the system regenerating itself. I believe I'll be able to do that differently here. I think I can do it all year round here. So the black soldier flies eat food waste converted to protein and calcium nuggets called black soldier fly larvae.
Yeah.
The leftover stuff in the bottom called frass, F-R-A-S-S, is fertilizer.
Yeah.
So that goes to fertilize the soil, right?
Yep.
And then any of the leftover scraps that we have go to the chickens. The chickens are eating them and making fertilizer nuggets for me. So all three of these are building a system that builds soil.
Right.
So I got the incoming food, goes to the worms, the black soldier flies, the chickens. The chickens give me eggs and poop.
Yep.
All of this stuff makes healthy soil in our gardens. Our gardens grow healthy food. I said it before. You harvest the food. It comes out of, whatever we have left over goes back into the system, and we get a circular system going around. It's,
which is really great. And again, too, you're dealing with over there in North Carolina a bigger space than what you used to have and everything. Here, I've only got just a little bit of not very much space, but we've got a little spot, in the back where we can do some chickens. I've got a little thing that I'm getting ready to set up too out in our back carport area too, where we can get some rabbits going to in order to harvest rabbit poo. It's all the poo, the frass, the poo. So we're making area that's going to make some of this really great fertilizers for our garden and everything. So even in these small spaces, we can also find ways of being able to work in some of this regenerative processes as well too.
Well, I knew a lady years ago in Phoenix. Her name was Linda. I can't tell you anything more about it than that. She was raising worms. She had a worm business, and she got rabbits, and the rabbit cages sat on top of the worm bins.
Oh,
so that when the rabbits pooped, it just went down into the worm bin.
Oh, wow. I have, what is it? Sow and Tear has a channel, Sow and Tear. She does a similar thing where her rabbits are just above the chickens. So she has the rabbit hutches right up above the chickens, and they'll drop the poo right down into the chicken stuff. So she harvests all of that stuff all at the same time. Even though, one of the cool things about the rabbit poo though is that it can be directly put right into your garden as fertilizer, unlike all of the other stuff, the chicken poo, or if you're getting manures from other places that have to be composted down.
Right, exactly. You cannot use chicken poop direct. It's too hot.
But what a double whammy though, too, when it's ready though. You got all the rabbit poo and the chicken poo all together, you know. That's just
Yeah.
really you can't get much better than that.
Well, and Heidi's my partner for our chickens. We have 9 hens. She's developing going with the deep litter method.
Yeah.
Basically, it pseudo composts in place, but you keep enough litter on top that the chickens do most of their pooping at night.
Yeah.
When they're sitting on the roost. So she just
right.
keeps adding stuff under there. And what'll happen with that is after, I think, like once a year, we'll go in and completely clean up all that stuff. That goes in a composting bin, and we'll actually compost that because it's got the greens, which is the nitrogen-rich chicken poop, and the browns, which is the wood shavings and stuff that we're using as for the deep litter method.
Yeah, and then that again too, like you said, then it's not something you have to kind of, other than like adding on to it, kind of topping it off and topping it off. It's not something you have to get in and clean out and just keep things going. You just kind of build on and build on and build on until it's time, and then you kind of pull it all at the same time, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right on, right on. So again, too, you mentioned permaculture. This is something we were messaging about earlier. So how about we kind of dig into this just a bit here, and how about you tell us a little bit, because what is permaculture ultimately?
Well, okay, so we'll just start with my simple definition. I like to call permaculture the art and science of working with nature.
Yeah.
So how do we work in the flow of nature rather than against nature? In 1996, I wrote this. Our downfall as a species is that we're arrogant enough to think we can control Mother Nature.
Right.
And stupid enough to think it's our job. The late, great Toby Hemingway always used to say, nature always will bat last.
Right.
Nature will always win. And so when I actually discovered permaculture, I remember the exact moment it happened. I was standing at my mailbox at the urban farm in Phoenix, Arizona. I went to the mailbox. I pulled up the top of the mailbox, pulled out the mail, and there was this flyer, a card for something called a permaculture design course. And for me, it was like the message got to me in that moment. Whatever that card said, I wish I would have saved it. Whatever that card said. Now, this was before email. This was before the internet. So I have no idea how whoever sent me that postcard knew to send it to me.
Right.
This was a message coming in from the universe.
Yeah.
Right. So I read the card. I ran inside. I was married at the time. I ran inside and I said, Michelle, I'm going to do this. You want to do it with me? And so a permaculture design course is a 72-hour introduction to permaculture. They can be done 2 weeks all at once. They can be done over weekends. The one that we do in Phoenix, Arizona is done over 5 weekends over 3 months. The one that they do here in Asheville, North Carolina is 1 Saturday a month for like 10 months.
Yeah.
And it's designed to take you out of linear human thinking and plug you into how nature works.
Yeah.
So think about this for a minute. We've been talking about a regenerative composting system, right?
Yeah.
I got to call what it is regenerative in 1991 when I did my permaculture design course. But remember, I said I designed a regenerative fish farm in 1981 before I ever knew what that really meant. And
just kind of happened along, right?
It did. It just kind of happened. And so we as human beings, and I challenge your listeners, I absolutely challenge your listeners to come up with a regenerative human created system.
Yeah.
They don't exist. I've been looking for 35 years.
Nature already did it. It's got the map already done.
Exactly. So let's look at nature. Nature only creates. Nature, I want to really emphasize this. Nature only creates regenerative systems. If nature creates a degenerative system, what happens to it?
Oh, it dies off, I suppose.
Exactly. It fails. It absolutely fails.
Yeah.
So what I want to really highlight is the dichotomy there. Humans have only ever created degenerative systems. Nature only has ever created regenerative systems, because when nature creates a degenerative system, it goes away. Do you see the problem here?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's like I was just recently, you know, somebody had made a post or something that I thought, and I can't quite say it as well as that they said it, but, you know, really ultimately, and kind of going along with what you're saying there too, is that, you know, we think, or what you even said there in that statement too, is that, you know, we think that we, you know, we could build and do all these sort of things and make things better, but that's not at all what's ever really happening. And
Right.
ultimately nature was around doing all of this stuff long before us. That's how we even got here to begin with. And ultimately, when we're done and gone, and we've, you know, all of our degenerative systems have kind of run their course and we're not here anymore, nature's going to go right back to its, not really, I mean, not, it's really not doing it at this moment either, but it's going to continue on long after us. You know, what do they say? There's still a couple of billion years left on our planet's life before the sun eats us up, right? So, you know, whenever we're gone, for that next couple of billion years up until that point, nature will just you know, and it'll consume everything that we've brought onto the earth itself. You know, everything we've built up in our degenerative processes, it will regenerate back into the system itself.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the power of nature and everything. So again, too, it's really, in a sense, it's really kind of egotistical in a sense for us to think that we've got power over it.
Exactly.
I mean, we can farm and we can do all these sort of things and create these structures and all that sort of stuff, but ultimately, all we're really doing is again trying to figure out how to work with nature versus, you know, being able to work against it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, pretty powerful. And again, too, so where really ultimately is, you know, so again, if we're, you know, got these degenerative systems that we're building, where ultimately is permaculture fit into, you know, what we're learning and how we're learning to manage things better?
Well, permaculture is a thought process, a design methodology. It's a way of being. You know, often I did a lecture, an introduction to permaculture back in 92 or 93. It was at this, you know, those home shows they do at the stadiums and stuff.
Right.
Excuse me. And I did this home show talk. There must have been 150 people in the room. And this guy raised his hand. This was in Phoenix, Arizona. This guy raised his hand and he said, "You can't do permaculture in the desert." And
wow, that's quite a statement.
It is. It is quite a statement, because nature is in the desert. So, you know, in the desert, we have different methods of managing things. Nature happens in the desert.
Yeah.
Permaculture, right. Mother Nature happens in the desert. Permaculture happens in the desert. So permaculture is really starts first and foremost about observation, observing where you're at and what is working.
Yeah.
And it works whether you've been in a house for 10 months. In fact, I tell people, spend at least a year on a property before you make any major changes.
Mhm.
And after having moved here from Phoenix, Arizona, I'm going to say spend at least 3 years on a property before you make any major changes. And I've just really learned that even after 30 years living at my house in Phoenix, I lived in that house for 33 years. I could still wander around the neighborhood and notice what people were doing that was working that I could implement.
Yeah.
So in permaculture, in nature, we just have to have an open mind. It's like, what could we be doing here? What could happen here? What's, how does nature work in my space?
Yeah, and again, it's going to look different, like you said, whether you're in a dry desert area. It just permaculture systems are just going to look different than they do in a more temperate climate or really wet tropical climates, or whatever the climate is. It's just going to look different,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So what
exactly.
are some of those differences though that you've noticed though in as you've made that transition from a
Phoenix to
drier
here?
from Phoenix to there? 'Cause
Uh,
here's another
when
thing I know for sure too. One of the things I've noticed again several years ago was a lot of folks were moving from a lot of different places to where you're at. North Carolina is like a hotbed of permaculture farms and folks
It
who've done all
is.
of that sort of stuff. There's tons of them out there. I've got to go and visit sometime, some folks that I know as well too, to see some of this as well. But I'm sure again too, there's a lot of like you've already said, some real learning processes from coming
Yeah.
from a different, like, a lot of folks from California moving out over there, or Arizona, like yourself moving out over there. There may be permaculture systems that work in the places you were at, but again, going to be a lot different in North
Right.
Carolina.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely, and I'll tell you about the urban farm here in a minute in Phoenix, but there are definitely lots of systems. Say hi to your friend, Phoenix.
Just kidding me. Oh,
Yeah, there you go. The biggest difference is water.
Yeah.
And that's not my main reason I moved. So moving out of Phoenix after having lived there 54 years wasn't something that happened overnight. It was something that I'd actually been pondering for 35 years.
Yeah.
Because I'm an introvert. I know for people that actually know me and know who I am out in the world, that seems funny, but I'm an introvert. So I was looking for quiet. I was looking for a place that was more quiet, both energetically and audibly, that was chiller, that was slower, like that. So that was my big reason for moving. The biggest difference is water.
Yeah. Water's the biggest issue for sure.
We get 7 inches of rain on average a year in Phoenix, Arizona. We get 40 inches a year on average here. Now, I became a real expert at water harvesting in Phoenix. Why harvest water where you don't get very much water? Exactly. You don't get very much water, so we want to hold on to as much of it as possible.
Yep.
And when you're only getting 7 inches of rain a year, it's figuring out how to direct it into your landscape and make use of it is of utmost importance.
Yeah.
On the other side of the coin here, I get on average 40. Last year we got 60 inches with Helene. We got 20 inches in 1 month last year. It's a different way of looking at water. We have to manage the water so that it's not flooding the space.
Right.
And So
whereas in Phoenix and these places, you want floods that you get, what are they, monsoons or things like that as well too. You have a monsoon season down there. And I think even, I think it's, is it Phoenix where they do flooding for certain neighborhoods or certain areas as well too?
Yeah, I had one of those properties. It's called flood irrigation. It's a water right that comes with the property. So yeah, managing water is a challenge here because you get so much of it. So, Brad Lancaster's book, Water Harvesting for Drylands and Beyond, is the Bible for water harvesting. So if you're interested in learning about water harvesting, that's the book to get. My big thing in water harvesting is directing the water in the landscape where you want to use it.
Yeah.
A lot of times the first place people go with rainwater harvesting is, I got to get a really big tank and store it for use later. Well, do you? First of all, I had 2 rainwater harvesting systems at the urban farm. One cost me $3,000 for a tank and a system that wasn't passive. So basically what that means is the fact that it wasn't passive meant that I had to do something to make it work. It would automatically collect water, but then when I wanted to use the water, I had to turn on the spigot, move the spigot around the yard, move the hose around the yard. That was about a $3,000 tank system. It collected X amount of water off of my roof. On the other side of my back patio was a rainwater harvesting system that cost me $80. Harvested X amount of water off my roof, about the same amount. And the only thing that I had to do to maintain that passive system was occasionally I would walk by and brush off the leaves on the downspout gutter. That was it.
That was it, huh?
Yeah. It harvested the same amount of water. And what I was doing with that water, and the reason it cost me $80 is because I took a pipe and I ran it out into my yard. I ran it into a basin, and around that basin in the backyard of the urban farm, I planted fruit trees. So when it rained, that water would go down the pipe out to the orchard and water the orchard. Now, I couldn't pull it up out of the ground later, but I was using my fruit trees to pull it out of the ground
Which
later.
needs that deep watering anyways, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So in North Carolina there, do you have a dry enough period where you really need to store or collect or utilize a water retaining system?
I could if I was watering the garden beds.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't rain often enough to keep the garden beds watered, so we still have to water them. That's the other thing I wanted to mention today. My favorite way to water my garden. Do you know this one? Have we talked about this before?
I don't know if we have.
It's called drip tape.
Oh, I think we had. I think you mentioned it before, but
Yeah.
Drip tape.
Drip tape. I love drip tape. So now I have 11 garden beds, from pill-shaped stock tanks to 4x8 wood garden beds that I built in the backyard, and they all have drip tape on them. Here's the quick rundown on drip tape. Drip tape pressurizes equally throughout the entire system and waters equally throughout the entire system. The problem with drip systems is that you get more water at the beginning of the system than you do at the end of the system.
Yeah, because it's starting to let out the pressure as it gets going, right? So with drip tape, it kind of has to build up first and then starts distributing. Yeah,
exactly. So it's distributing water evenly. So I have drip tape throughout the entire system, throughout my garden beds, and that helps a lot. So, and we've got a well, so it just comes out of the well and into the drip tape system. The fruit trees that I planted, which is inclusive of blueberries and elderberries and some mulberries and service berries all survive on rainwater, which is nice.
Just the available water from whatever comes from the sky, right?
Yep, exactly.
It gets in deep enough to manage them throughout the dry period.
Yes, and I've done some water harvesting systems to make that happen. And what that looks like is swales. Do you know what a swale is? This is a permaculture term.
I believe it's just the kind of building up the earth in a way to kind of keep some sort of wind resistance, right? Or I think
could
it just
do wind.
manure?
It's for water.
Okay.
Basically, the exact definition of a swale is an on contour. So it's a on contour ditch. It's a ditch that runs the same elevation across the landscape. And basically what you do is you dig a ditch down. So go down 4 to 6 inches, take that soil and I put it on the downside.
Okay.
So that as the water's running down the slope, it hits that ditch and starts distributing across the horizontally across the system. So that slows the water down and seeps it in and gets these things watered.
Okay. So basically just kind of creating almost your own little stream in a way, capturing whatever water through, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, excellent. And so that's working really well for, I know we've talked before too. How are the elderberries on the farm doing, huh?
So my urban farm fruit tree program, I've been running in Phoenix for 26 years. I've been growing fruit trees in Phoenix for almost 50 years. As I said at the beginning, I know how to grow fruit trees in the desert. I have had my butt kicked here trying to grow fruit trees. And so we'll start with the elderberries. I planted 90 elderberries 2 years ago. So we're coming in January. It'll start year 3. And a lot of them are doing great.
Yeah.
Some of them died. And as far as I can tell, the ones that died are all underneath a nut tree. You know, nut trees give off something that prevents things from growing underneath them.
Right.
So I had about 8 or 10 of them.
Is it like maybe water roots that are more surface or something that's spread out?
Well, that's part of it, but they also have something, and I'm drawing a blank on what it is, but they put in their sap. It keeps things from growing underneath them.
Interesting.
So I've got 8 or 10 elderberries that pretty much died. And then farther around the corner, I was just looking at them yesterday, farther around the corner, some of them are kind of growing well. You know, the first set in full sun, they went from 6 inches tall to 8 feet tall in 18 months. But these others kind of around the corner get afternoon shade.
Yeah.
So, it's all one great big grand experiment, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Rick was saying that Walnut does the same thing where he's at in Australia there too. So yeah,
exactly.
But well, I mean, at least you got. It seems that most of them, right? A large percentage of them are still working, and oh boy,
and then my stone fruit.
Which kind of?
Go ahead.
Which kind of what kind of stone fruit you got growing there successfully?
Well, I can't say successfully.
Right.
I brought
working on it, learning, right? Figuring it out.
I brought in 10. Oh, there's the word. Thank you, Jay. Allopathic, alleliopathic. I brought in 10 different varieties of stone fruit from Dave Wilson Nursery, and I planted them, and they've got planted in the pathway of the deer, and in a place that the weeds, I swear to God, these weeds grow a foot a day.
They probably do.
On my property, this particular place where I put my fruit trees is where they grow the fastest. And it's just like, oh my gosh. So I actually just kind of gave up on them a little bit. I'm going to check on them here when they go dormant and the weeds die back, and see which ones survived, because the ones that got up above the deer's reach, they're actually doing pretty good. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with those.
But yeah, it's weeds, pests, like you're saying, with deer, all this sort of stuff. When you got a daily battle with something, it can get kind of I don't know, it just makes you want to just give up sometimes. And I even, with some of the pests and things that I've got to deal with here, you know, I'm just sometimes like, you know what, you just do what you're going to do. I've done that several times when it comes to the squash bugs and things. You know, I try my best to get them growing as big as possible, get the plants growing as big as possible, and then trying to manage those things from a day to day to day and all of that. And then there's a point where it's like, man, they just keep coming back. Like no matter what I try to, I think I've got most all of them. You know, you go out, you collect them, you're squishing eggs, you're doing all this sort of stuff, and you think that you've got them all. Then you come back the next day, like you said, with weeds, and there's some weeds that are the same way here as well. But it's like, what's going on? I mean, there's just as many as there were yesterday. Now I gotta go and do all that again that day. So again, I get that when it comes to, especially for newer gardeners and all of that, about how that can be so tough to deal with and all of that. But you know, my only strategy really is to do the best I can for as long as I can do it until I give up, and then hopefully at that point the plants got enough size, you know what I mean, to be somewhat resilient to it. Kind of what you're talking about with the trees, ones that have grown a bit enough to where the deer can't get to a certain part of them and all of that, then those ones are doing better, you know. So manage it until you get them big enough to where they can kind of manage on their own.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and you mentioned pests. I want to kind of shift this conversation a little bit. I see over your right shoulder.
Which,
do I see one of these? Actually, spray bottles
right here. Yeah. IV Organic sponsors the show.
Yeah, I've been talking with IV Organics recently, and I love what they do. Charles is great. And yesterday, actually, let me step back a little more. With my fruit tree program, this is what I do full time, is I talk to people in the Phoenix, the low desert of Arizona, about fruit trees, growing fruit trees. And people regularly send me pictures of their fruit trees in the desert and saying, hey, what's going on with this? And I've been talking with this guy, and he sent me an up close picture of the trunk of his 2-year-old peach tree. Now, this peach tree was planted in dirt with no shade, no ground cover, no anything. So it was stressed to start with. And this up close picture he sent me was, it had all kinds of bubbles of stuff coming out of the trunk.
Really?
It's either gummosis or peach borers. There it is. Peach borers. And it's probably peach borers. And one of the things that I like about the IV Organics product is that it's this particular one that I have is a paint like product that gets painted on the trunk, and that keeps the peach borers out.
It does. It works really well with so many different things too. That's just it's, to me, one of my again, I consider that like a must-have for your garden for sure, especially if you're growing trees like you're talking about. And for one, I mean, you look at the ingredients too. I mean, this is all
Yes, all
natural.
natural.
This isn't slapping some latex paint or some other type of paint onto your tree or anything, like it has been suggested before. But an all natural, paint covering, though it will wash off eventually. You have to reapply, but it's all natural. Oh, there goes my camera. I knew that was going to happen. Let's switch it up. There we go.
There we go.
But
well, and I loved your last guest, the poo-poo.
yes,
Poo-poo juice.
Poo-poo juice. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And I had discovered about 25 years ago something called poo paint. It's biodynamic tree paste, and this is IV Organics is doing something very similar to biodynamic tree paste. It's something you can look up. The Josephine Porter Institute has biodynamic tree paste you can buy. It's a fertilizer that you actually paint on the trunk of the tree, and it also helps keep the bugs away.
Oh, wow.
And the other thing that these do, the IV Organics and the biodynamic tree paste does in warm climates, it keeps the trees from dehydrating.
Okay.
I can't tell you, because with our fruit tree program in Phoenix, we offer a guarantee. If they do what we tell them to do, when you buy your tree, you plant it the way we'd say to plant it, water it, fertilize it, foliar feed it, drench feed it, do everything we tell you. We're going to take half of the responsibility for your tree dying. So if your tree dies, we'll split the cost of a new tree with you. And we do that because we're giving so much education. We're educating people on how to do this the best way. And as a hint, the stuff that we teach also works in North Carolina, and it'll work where you're at as well. And it includes tree paste to keep your trees from dehydrating. So I do this full time. This is my full-time job these days. And I'll get emails from people and they'll say, what's going on with my tree? And one of the big things that happens with trees in the low desert, maybe where you're at, is the hot winds. The hot winds can literally dehydrate a tree.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, that spray, the IV Organic spray, you can spray it on the leaves, and that helps the tree survive hot winds like that.
Yeah. And again, too, so dynamic in the sense of all the different types of things that it really helps with when it comes to growing trees or even other plants in your garden too. You can use that spray for as pest control and things like that as well too. So there's just so many great uses with it, and again, just a really great product. So again too, if anybody wants to get any of this IV Organic, whether it's the 3-in-1 Plant Guard, the spray, or anything like that, we definitely do got links right down below in the description for IV Organic. So they're a great sponsor. We really love the support from Charles and all of that. And definitely. Also too, you mentioned Dave Wilson Nursery too. This is someone I've been working with and in contact with right now, because I'm going to plant out one of my first in-ground fruit trees. So we want to do a peach tree. So my neighbor who owns the property, he's given me permission to do most anything I want around here, which is really great. But one of them is because, I don't own the place. So I've always done container fruit trees. So I've got, container peach, I've got pears, I've got apples, I've got figs, all these sort of things in containers around here. But now we get to do one in ground. So hopefully we'll get a cool peach tree here. It should be coming anytime now that we can get planted out into our outdoor space in ground. And we'll definitely be coating it up for the winter with that 3-in-1 Plant Guard too.
Yeah. Well, and I have very specific methodology for planting trees.
I'll definitely be looking into that for sure.
You want to hear it?
Yeah, I do.
It's really super simple.
Okay.
First of all, you want to prep your space so that you have a 6-foot diameter basin where you're putting your tree. And you want that basin 6 inches deep or 6 inches high. If it's 6 inches high, you need bricks or a border around it.
Okay.
So you have your 6 foot diameter basin. This is my 6-6 rule. 6 foot diameter basin, at least 6 inches deep. That's the basin for the tree. And eventually what's going to happen with the basin around the tree is you're going to fill it with 6 to 8 inches of woody mulch. And that woody mulch at the interface between the dirt and the woody mulch starts breaking down pretty quickly and makes really, really, really healthy soil.
Okay.
So that's my 6-6 rule. So when planting the tree, you're going to dig a hole. You're going to dig a square hole. I dare you to ask me why.
That's why. Why am I going to dig a square hole?
You're going to dig a square hole because what can happen, especially in hard soil, is that if you dig a cylindrical, it's round, but a cylindrical hole,
right,
and plant the tree in the hole, if the soil's hard enough on the outside, the tree will actually not go into the dirt. It'll stay in the hole, and it can girdle itself to death. It can root bind itself in that hole, just like it happens in pots.
Yeah.
So
from Simplified Gardening is saying that too. You push out and rather than go in circles.
Exactly. So a square hole, 2 foot by 2 foot by a foot deep.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You're going to take 40% of the dirt out of that hole. You're going to put it in the wheelbarrow.
All right.
You're going to add 2 bags, 2 to 3 cubic feet of some kind of planting mix. Raised bed planting mix. In Phoenix, we have Farmer Greg's planting mix. Some kind of planting mix that doesn't have dirt in it because you already have dirt.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to mix that all up.
All right.
All right. And then you're going to add 2 pounds of azomite. Azomite is a micronutrient dense vitamin pill for your tree. You're going to add 2 pounds of worm castings, 2 ounces of mycorrhiza, and 2 pounds of organic fertilizer. All goes in that wheelbarrow. And you mix it all up in that wheelbarrow.
Yeah.
Okay. While you're doing this, you've filled the hole to watch to see how quickly that hole drains. So they call that a perk test or a percolation test.
Oh, excellent. Yeah.
You want to make sure that the hole, because sometimes you get a hole dug and 24 hours later it's still got full of water. That's a problem. Most of the time that's not the case, but do your perk test. All right, so now you have a wet hole that's drained out. The stuff in the wheelbarrow. Always like to use fish emulsion and kelp emulsion to if it's a bare root tree to soak the roots in. Then you're going to take out of the pot or bare root and you're going to plant it 4 inches above grade. So it's kind of sitting up on a hill, right?
Okay.
Because you want it at the same elevation eventually as your basin.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So you're going to plant it on a mound in the middle. It's got all this nutrient good stuff. You got your azomite, mycorrhiza, worm castings, organic fertilizer, planting mix, and dirt. You're going to use all that to plant the tree. And then you're going to fill that basin with 6 to 8 inches of woody mulch. Make sure that you don't, and that's the reason we want to put it up on a mound in the middle, because you don't want that woody mulch against the trunk of the tree.
Yeah. But covering up that 4 inches though, right?
Yeah. Well, basically the woody mulch is going to kind of come up to it, but not up against it.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. And basically what you've done with the vitamins that went in and the fertilizers that went in that wheelbarrow, you've given that tree a huge limb up by putting a square hole in the ground. You're making sure that it's not going to get root bound, and then water it in real good. And most of the time, once every 2 weeks, is a good watering schedule for fruit trees. People think, oh my, especially in the desert, oh my gosh, we have to water the trees every day. And if you're watering your fruit trees every day after planting the way that I just suggested, you're overwatering the trees, you will kill them.
Yeah. Because again, too, we're trying to, at least hope, right, that we set up the right setup to where they're going to get down, those roots are going to get down nice and deep, right?
Yeah.
And so if we're watering and like you said, every couple of weeks, but a good deep watering though.
Yes.
And then you hold off, let it drink all of that up and take the time to be able to do so. And you're not going to see that in your first few inches of soil either. So it's going to dry up, so you just want to give it the time to be able to get down deep and drink up what's deep.
Exactly. And the thing is, overwatering a tree and underwatering the tree, the damage looks the same. So what'll often happen is people are watering their trees every 2 or 3 days and it starts to wilt. What's the first thing you think?
Right. And it needs water, right?
It needs water. You water it some more and it wilts a little more, and you water it some more and it wilts a little more, and all of a sudden, dead tree.
Find that with all the other plants too. It seems it's almost the same thing. It's just overwatering or underwatering. It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, right on, man.
Moisture meter.
Yeah, good moisture meter. Get in there for sure. And then again too, if you're watering and it's still wilting, then again also take a step back and just see what happens after that. And let it dry out a bit more.
Exactly.
And I find that similar too, even with my plants inside as well too. It's sometimes you got to just let them be and quit over caring. We can over care things so much because we really do care about these things that we're growing. It takes a lot of time and effort, and we put a lot of energy into it, but sometimes it's worth it just to sit back and kind of see what's, let it go and let it see what happens when you don't care for it as much.
Yeah. Looks like Bowtie Life has a question.
Yeah. I want to drop that in here for a real quick question here before we finish up. There we go.
We have abnormally high drainage sand for soil. About to plant 2 peach trees. I'm uncomfortable planting the tree higher than the soil. So what you're doing when you're planting the tree higher than the soil is you're taking into consideration that you're going to add 6 inches of woody mulch that's going to bring everything level. And so I would just go ahead and plant it the way we chatted about. And and then as it settles too, and then you just a little bit. Exactly.
And then also that mulch is going to break down and things, and you're going to add more as it comes to it as well too. So
remember, so you're planting the tree, and the soil is going to cover all the roots. So you're going to have a mound in the middle with the roots covered that's a little bit higher, and then the woody mulch is going to fill up the entire basin so it all looks level.
Yeah, excellent. Hopefully, well, I'm going to definitely be utilizing that method there as I get to hopefully plant this peach tree here real soon and get it into the ground, and I'll definitely give you a shout out for the video we make too, and as we're putting that together for sure.
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
Because I mean, I can't wait. It's just gonna be really fun to be able to have my first in-ground tree for sure. But right on, Greg, here we are, end of the show already, man. I'm telling you.
It goes by fast.
And I was like, when I was messaging you earlier, we are talking about topics and stuff. I was like, I just kind of let the conversation go because, so you never know where you really head sometimes. And then next thing you know, it's over. We're done already, kind of thing. And it's like, wait a minute, I could, if I start listing out all these sort of topics and stuff like that, we won't ever get to most of them because it's just so much fun just talking about this stuff.
I got something really exciting I want to share real quick.
Absolutely.
About a year ago, about 10 months ago, I went to a bread baking class, sourdough bread baking class here in Nashville.
Yeah.
And the reason I went to it, I wasn't interested in learning how to bake bread. I was interested in getting the host of the show on my podcast.
Oh, there you go.
and she
going
wasn't
out and doing some
responding.
legwork on your
Yeah, and she wasn't responding.
booking.
So I went to the class and I fell in love with making sourdough bread. And so since November of last year, I have made 70 loaves of sourdough bread, given away a bunch of them, eaten a bunch of them ourselves, and I've learned really how to do sourdough bread.
In fact, I do think we kind of mentioned that a little bit the
Yeah,
last time you were on too. And again, our first guest, Maureen, this is what she does on her Saturday mornings too, is cooking up and baking up her sourdough bread
right.
for her farm stand there too. So, I mean, I've got to
So
figure it out myself because that stuff looks so delicious. She was showing us
yeah,
the
and
loaf.
it's actually surprisingly simple. And the reason I brought it up right now is because when we hang up, I'm going to make 4 loaves of sourdough bread.
Oh, yes. I know. So Saturdays is the sourdough day, right? Sourdough Saturdays.
Yeah, oh, there you go.
Sourdough Saturdays, right? Excellent, excellent. Well, thanks again, Greg. And again, we'll have you back on again, I'm sure not too long from now as well, because I always really enjoy having you on in the conversation. And I learned
Thanks.
so much too. Again, I really look forward to utilizing your method for planting the peach
fruit
trees.
tree.
So that'll be great. And I hope everybody else gets a lot out of that information as well too. So
Cool.
All right, right on. Well, thanks again for being here, and
You bet.
we'll catch you again in just a little bit.
Thanks.
You got it. Hey, these darn flies, unbelievable. That's what I have for all these lights here. Yeah, got a few of them are just really having fun with me here for sure. But anyways, what a great conversation with Farmer Greg Peterson of the Urban Farm Podcast. And again, check out the link down below so you can go check out his podcast. You want to talk about a great guests and great conversations. He totally has probably one of the best gardening and growing podcasts out there. You'll want to go and check that out. Check out all the great people that he gets to talk to, and maybe you'll hear me on the podcast down the road as well too. I know I've done a couple already, so you can always go look those up as well too, and check out our chats over on his podcast. But definitely do that. Go check out the Urban Farm Podcast and a link down below, as well as again too, go check out our Are You Following Me guest, Maureen Washington, Diva in the Dirt, in the link down below. Go check out a video or a post or something and let them know that you saw them here on the Let's Get Growing show. And we got lots and lots still coming up here. We got booking right now, trying to get us as many really great guests, for as we work our way towards the end of the year. And this next in fact, I keep forgetting when I get into this part of the whole show and everything, is forgetting to talk about the fact that this is only Saturday. We still have Sunday to come too as well too. So definitely come and join with us tomorrow, same time, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. for all of you over in the UK, and bright and early over there in Australia. But thanks everybody for checking us out. Tomorrow, Sunday, for our Sunday edition of the show, we have joining with us Resh Gala and Ashley Thomas, Mocha Gardner, back on the show again with us to have a fun garden roundtable conversation. And we're going to ask, is your garden happy? So we'll find out how well their gardens have grown this year, see how happy their gardens are. We'll talk all about it again tomorrow on the Sunday edition of our show. And then this next Saturday, next week on the show, we're going to have with us Philip Longo from Earth, Nails, and Tails joining with us here. We'll have a great conversation with Philip, talk all about his season and what he's had growing on. We'll probably talk some more about chickens and chicken care and all of that, as well as many other things too. We also have, again, too, we had to bring him back as we had to cancel our show last week. We were supposed to have Farmer Marshall on with us last week, but we'll have him on with us for our Are You Following Me segment this next week. So definitely come and join with us for our next Saturday show and get to meet those great guests and check out our great fun conversation here on the show. And also too, next Sunday on the show, it's going to be the second Sunday of the month, and we had to skip it last month, so it's been now a couple of months since we've seen our good friend Gardner Scott. We'll have Gardner Scott on again for the second Sunday. Ask Gardner Scott. We'll answer all of your gardening questions with our good friend Gardner Scott. And yeah, again, always a really fun conversation with him as well too. So you won't want to miss out on that conversation this next Sunday. And as well too, before we finish up the show here, definitely click that like button, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell notification, and share with all of your gardening friends out there, and let them know about all of our great guests that we have here each and every Saturday and Sunday here on the Urban Gardener channel and the Let's Get Growing show, 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern, again, 7 for all of you over in the UK. And definitely everybody check out those links down below in the description, not only for our guests, like I said, but also we mentioned our sponsor, Ivy Organic. We got a link down below to them and all of our other social media, so you want to go and check those out. But again, wonderful to hang out with all of you all today. So glad to have you here, and I look forward to seeing all of you tomorrow for the Sunday edition. So we'll see all of you then.
All right, they're gonna run. See you on the flippy flops.